is this little magical box that we've got here. It's the new Aeronautica Imperialis starter set, Tau versus Imperial. So this is retailing for £55 RRP. Like a lot of independents, I'm selling it for £44. But compared to buying the aircraft individually, you save about a tenner. You also get everything else in here as well. So let's take the plastic wrap off and let's open up the box. So it comes with a nice big bubble wrap, and then straight away we're presented with a lot of sprues. So bases, pegs, quite a lot of pegs, dice. Again, these are slightly more heavy than normal dice. I don't know why, but it gives me 16 of these Aeronautica dice. And then we get to the sprues. We have, that is part of the Tiger Sharks. So the Tiger Sharks are going to have one standard sprue and one variant sprue. And as you can see from it, you've got extra burst cannons, extra railguns and extra ion cannons. You've also got some stuff that connects into the main elements. So this is going to be the common sprue, common with all the different versions of the Tiger Shark, of which there are 2 kits at this time. You've got the drones with various weapons, so cyclic ion cannon, burst cannon, cyclic ion cannon and burst cannon. You've also got some other drone type things as well. I don't know if those are options. We will find out when we read the instructions, but that is the Tiger Shark kit. The Barracuda sprue. Again, you've got all the gun options and you can give any mix you like on them. You've got drone turrets, cyclic ion cannons, burst cannons, and enough to equip every model with whichever turret you want. And it looks like you might be able to switch them around. But yeah, you are limited to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, you've only got enough turrets to do each of the planes. You can't have a stash of extra turrets. Let's have a look at the turrets and see if they're the same size. It looks very much like they're the same size between different aircraft. So you might be able to, if you've got aircraft you're not using, switch some things around. The Lightnings. So that's a very interesting profile. You've also got those las cannons or multi-lasers. That looks like las cannons there, of which you've got 1 set and then 3 sets of multi-lasers. We can check that on the instructions. You've also got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 12 missiles, that's enough to give everybody missiles. You got 2, 4, 6 missiles there. So you are going to want to raid your bits box, which is probably full of missiles from other Imperial kits, because it looks like you got all the ground attack missiles but not all of the strike aircraft missiles. But again, those missiles are going underneath the wings. It's very hard to tell what they've actually got on them. So it's just going to be the cards that you use. And the Valkyries. Nice big hull. You've got wing-mounted twin las cannons. You've got twin las cannons to go on the side of the cockpit. You've got single las cannons to go on the side of the cockpit. You've got rocket pods. Do you have... No, that's everything you've got. So again, the detail looks lovely. You appear to have all the options that you require to do the Valkyrie. Yeah, or the Vendetta gunship by giving it the twin las cannons and the underwing las cannons. So you can do 2 Vendettas or 2 Valkyries. It's up to you whether you're going to want to do the rocket pods or not. But if you do rocket pods, you've got both transport and ground attack on one plane. But if you're going to do that, you can always just strafe with las cannons. We have a nice big template, not template, a nice big art piece that you can put on your wall, and on the back of it you've got examples of all the planes inside the box. It doesn't fold up anything like that, so we can put that to one side. And then we start having Skies of Fire starter scenarios. Let's have a look. So that gives you 3 additional starter scenarios to use in the game. That's an improvement over the first book, which only had the dogfight scenario. So we have a Skies of Fire rulebook. So in this we have core rules for the first 23 pages. The dogfight scenario. So this box does give you 4 starting scenarios, which is 3 more than the first box, and a massive improvement and obvious response to the criticism they received for the first one, considering that this is a, how many page booklet? 38. It would have been simpler for them to include it, so they've obviously done it after they've done the design for this book and done it in response to feedback. So, squadron lists, let's have a look. You've got the full upgrade list. You've got the details for Lightning Strike fighters, which clock in at 19 points. Okay, the thing you've got all the missiles for every fighter is Sky Strikes. You've only got 6 Hell Strikes. But you can take 3 additional weapons, so you that's quite a lot of missiles on the Lightnings. You can take them to 25 points by giving them 3 sets of missiles. That's why you get Hell Strikes and then 2 sets of Sky Strikes. It is a Speed 8 fighter that can do manoeuvres 1 to 7 and throttle 3, so it can accelerate or decelerate more than a Thunderbolt, do 1 more manoeuvre than a Thunderbolt, handles at 3+, and can go maximum speed 8, so that's 2 points of speed better. However, the guns you've got are las cannons, so that's only 2 dice at medium, 0 dice at close, or multi-lasers. Multi-lasers can hit at every range bracket, but you're paying +4 points for it. And that is 23, the same as a Thunderbolt Fury, unless they FAQ the Thunderbolt Fury. So that's interesting. Astra Militarum, you've got the Valkyrie. Let's have a look. What different equipment do you get? Your ditch ejector seats for your ditch ejector seats and infrared targeting for armoured transport compartment and tactical array. Tactical targeting array get +3 points, lets you re-roll any firepower dice that roll a 1 to hit. So you're going to see people taking that on vulture gunships equipped with Punishers, because then when you're rolling your 11 dice from the Punisher cannon and the heavy bolter, you can re-roll any 1s. So Valkyrie Assault Craft, 16 points, and you can choose 1 additional set of weapons at 2 points, or give them twin-linked las cannons for +4. So you're probably never going to choose anything apart from twin-linked las cannons, because for 4 points that gives you 4 las cannon dice at medium range and 2 at long. So if you're a Vendetta, suddenly you're rolling 6 las cannons at medium range, or a Valkyrie, you're rolling 4 las cannons and 4 multi-lasers at medium range. Yeah, so a fully tricked out Vendetta is 21 points for a structure 3 plane rolling 6 las cannon dice at medium range. Your manoeuvres aren't great. You got 1 to 4, that's the same as the fighter bomber. You got throttle 1, so you're not accelerating or decelerating fast unless you're diving. Your max altitude 4, so you can't go too high, and your max speed 5, but your minimum speed 0. So you can always drop to speed 0 and just pivot in place. I wonder if you can do that. But it certainly helps you with dropping off troops, of which you've got 3. So this is going to be compulsory in every mission which involves dropping troops off somewhere or picking things up, because it's great for that. Much better than trying to land Marauder destroyers, because that's not what Marauder destroyers are for. You can keep them cheap at 16 points, same as a Dakar jet, or you can spend 4 or 5 points and tool them up with a load of las cannons. Or, to be fair, multi-laser and rocket pods. And rocket pods are pretty reasonable, and not specifically, rocket pods, you get 3 shots with them, 262 damage 5+, and you can fire them at air targets or you can strafe ground targets. That's interesting and different from first edition. Tau have got some really interesting upgrades. You got decoy drones, which is basically flares, armoured cockpit, same as the Imperial one, infrared targeting, same as the Imperial one, defensive drones, spend 1 point and you get a tail gunner, gives you 1 dice 6+ damage tail gunner on your planes. So if you've got something big and not necessarily very manoeuvrable, like a Tiger Shark, which it is better than Imperial bombers, but it's not a Barracuda or a Thunderbolt or a Lightning, then having an additional rear gun that fires at anything tailing you is pretty useful. If you were fighting orcs, I would absolutely take it. Imperials, where they're going to want to bracket you at medium range, even if they're tailing, it's useless because you're only short range 1 dice. The Barracuda. This is worth zooming in on. Barracuda's clocking at 22 points to start with a railgun and missile pods. You are going to want to spend at least 3 points on top of that to give yourself the drone weapons. Cyclic Ion Blaster or Long Barrel Burst Cannon, they are all round and down weapons. So you can't shoot at things above you, but it gives you a 360-degree turret with either 2 close range dice damage 4+, or 3 medium range dice, 2 long range dice damage 5+. It's something that you're going to want to think about taking. Well, not even think about taking, you're going to want to take it. But it means that any Barracuda you take is going to be at least 25 points. If you change it to have the burst cannon, so 363 dice 5+ damage, which seems pretty useful, or the ion cannon plus 1 point, 1314+ damage, you're going to be sitting on a 26 to 29 point fighter. There's also, I think, an upgrade that you can take for them which boosts their speed. Normally you'd have it, I'll check the main book as well in a minute, but it was previewed on Warhammer Community, an upgrade to Barracudas that lets you make them faster. But the sheer number of options you can take with the Barracuda makes it really interesting. You've also got the potential to take Seeker missiles at 2 points each. They're essentially the same as Imperial missiles, 0, 2, 2, 3+ damage, extra damage on 6. But it means you can potentially have a 31 point fighter, yet its ace manoeuvres 1 to 7, but its maximum speed 5. So it's not as fast as the Thunderbolt, it's definitely not as fast as a Lightning. It's only got 2 structure, but you've got that 360-degree fire. So you've got missile pods and a main gun forward, which means you're rolling between 5 and 9 dice depending on the options you take. But then you've got potentially 12 dice at medium range by taking a burst cannon main gun and burst cannon drones, which is an awful lot of firepower. 3 of those dice are 4+, the rest are 5+, but it's still on a par with a Marauder Destroyer, though you are paying quite a lot for it. So let's have a look at the Tiger Shark. Again, with the Tiger Shark, you've got 3 options for your main guns: railguns, burst cannons, ion cannons. If you take burst cannon main guns, you're a 32-point bomber. You are structure 5, so you can take an awful lot of punishment. You are maneuver 1 to 4, you're better than a Marauder Destroyer or Marauder Bomber. You are max speed 5, throttle 2. But potentially you're rolling 12 dice, plus the turret 15 dice, if you are willing to spend 35 points to give it long barrel burst cannon drones and the Swift Strike burst cannon main gun. That's a lot of dice. Some people might go for paired ion cannon, which is cheaper, and that gives you 7 dice doing 4 up damage, with extra damage as well on a 6 for the ion cannon for a 26-point bomber. You add the drones on, that's a 29-point bomber. Yeah. You are rolling an awful lot of dice with Tau. You are not as fast as Imperials now that they've got Thunderbolts and Lightnings. You are nowhere near as fast as Orcs, as long as they're not taking Grot Bombers or Heavy Bombers, which are even slower than you are, but you are more manoeuvrable. And the Tau Bombers are gunships. So everything you've got that you might throw at ground targets, you can throw at aerial targets. You are not dividing things into, I have to spend X points on bombs, because you're going to have to strafe. If you've got a ground target, you're going to have to strafe it. But it means that anything that gets in your way, you can hit it with all your normal guns, because Tau are about shooting the crap out of things. So that's the book. It's an improvement over the first book, definitely, particularly the additional scenario leaflet. So what else have we got? 2 quick reference sheets and the counters. Again, these are the thick card counters, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in these little pods to keep them from getting damaged, and add that to the pile of counters I've got from the first supplement. What else do we have? We have the instruction booklet. There are a couple of things I want to look at to clarify things. Okay, we've got very short instruction leaflets. So, Lightning Strike Fighter is the multi-lasers. That's the one that you've got the most stuff for. So the pure lightning fighter with the las cannons, you've only got the options to build 1 per 3. I would do that if I were you, because it's cheap, and las cannons are not that bad. And though I can see the point of multi-lasers, it's a 23-point fighter with multi-lasers, which is the same points cost at the moment as the Thunderbolt Fury. So one thing I will say, the Wave 2 Imperial stuff looks like it balances really well with the Tau stuff and the Wave 1 Orc stuff. The Wave 1 Imperial stuff does not look like it balances well with any of those. It's why I think they're going to get the points looked at in an FAQ, because otherwise it'll be, let's play a 125 point scenario. I'm going to take 3 Thunderbolt Furies and 2 Marauder Destroyers, as I faced 3 times out of 6 games in the Games Workshop event at Warhammer World. Because if you want to win, that's possibly the most effective force that you can take. We've got a nice map. Going to pop this out the plastic. So again, like in the first supplement, we have a double-sided paper mat. That double-sided paper mat is about 2.5 feet by 2.5 feet. We've got one side which looks like subterranean caverns or a moon landscape. We've got the other which is a desert planetary surface with tower installations. So very nice to have. Though of course the 3x3 card map is available, and then you've got a combined transfer sheet, Lightnings, Valkyries, Tau Barracuda and Tiger Shark. So it looks like there's only one set of Tau transfers, but the Imperials may well get different transfers for everything. This looks nice. Again, they're not coloured, it's black and white, but for the Tau at least, that matches really well because you've got all the little Tau symbols. So, do I recommend you get this? Do you like tiny planes? Do you like good games? If the answer to those is yes, then absolutely you should. There are different ways to get into Aeronautica. You could very simply just get either of the 2 campaign books, depending on which force you want to collect. If it's Tau or Imperial, I would recommend Taros, and then just buy the card sets and the planes you want. You could get away without buying the first book at all if you bought the Imperial card set for that book, because that has everything in it you need to play the game. If you're Orcs, I'd recommend picking up the first starter and swapping the planes with somebody. If you want to play Tau, pick up this starter, swap the planes with somebody. But as a standalone product, this is really good. I think the Tau do have a lot more stuff in here than the Imperials. You'd probably be playing, you might play, depending on how they outfit the Tau, a Tiger Shark and 2 Barracudas versus a Valkyrie and 3 Lightnings. But the Imperials are probably clocking in at about 110, 115 points, whereas the Tau can quite easily throw down 150 from what they get in this box. So the Tau have a lot of firepower, but they pay through the nose for it. So it's real interesting to see how they've put this box together. The miniatures look first rate, and I am really happy with what I've seen from this and from the book. I think we'll see some really good Imperial schemes. I think we'll see some great weathered desert planes, some great Astra Militarum schemes, because you could, if you've got the campaign book, you could conceivably do a viable Astra Militarum Air Force with none of the Imperial stuff, made of Valkyries, Vendettas and Vultures. Vendettas are incredibly nasty. They can throw 6 las cannon dice out. You've paid 20 points for it. Sorry, 21 points for it. So do think about how you want to build these. There's lots of options for everything. The Tau are ridiculous for options. You've got 3 different configurations for the Barracudas and 2 different sets of turrets you can add. You've got 3 different configurations for the Tiger Sharks and 2 different sets of turrets you can add. So there's a lot of choice there. I am very impressed with this as a product. I would highly recommend it. And that's been my unboxing of the Aeronautica Imperialis starter set for Wave 2. If you've liked this video, hit like and subscribe. If you want to chat, leave a comment below. But otherwise, good gaming.